Today's gab is going to be about something important to my heart, and that is performing your art for exposure. Here are my thoughts on it. I've been an independent artist for 7 years now, and I've done a lot of gigs for exposure. I think when you're coming up and starting, I think it's really important to get your art out there as much as possible. And yes, this means performing for exposure. I think that you should take every opportunity you can to exhibit your art, get content around those exhibitions, show that you are out there, putting in that work. Kind of building what your exhibit would look like over time, and then over time you build that up and start charging for it. Ideally you start charging from the rip, but a lot of people are going to take advantage of the fact that you're just starting, which when you're coming up is okay. It still isn't the best scenario. Ideally you want them to pay you at least a little bit, but this is kind of where we get into the gray area of performing for exposure. Some would think that the higher up you get in your career, the less you'll have to do exposure gigs. And I think that's true to an extent, but it's not like the exposure gigs disappear. I think the bigger you get, the more people are going to ask you to do things for free and for exposure, because they see that you're doing well, and why wouldn't you want more people to see that? I don't necessarily agree with the logic here, but all I know is that when you're coming up, it is important to do. It's okay to do, I think, and you can do it without sacrificing your self-respect and your respect for your art. But I think there is a certain point that you will reach, and you have to make that decision for yourself. But there's a certain point you will reach where doing those gigs for exposure no longer serve you in the way that they did. And you might find some pros in them, but I've found in my personal career, it is 99.9% of the time never been worth it to do a gig for exposure. No matter, after a certain point in my career, no matter how they sell it to you, no matter how millions of people will see it, and no matter how they try to finesse it by saying, "Oh, we'll cover your hotel, we'll cover your flight to us, but you need to perform your art for free." No matter how they spin it, 99.9% of the time it has not been worth it. So that's my experience. But you guys, as artists, I want you to do your own experiences, come to your own conclusions. But for me, there got to a certain point where it was just detrimental, not only to my life, because you're taking time, energy, money to do these things for these people for free, for exposure, but also just like my mental health, my career, everything. So it doesn't feel good for the soul to be taken advantage of in that way, and that's how I see it. A lot of corporations, businesses, companies don't see it as taking advantage of an artist when they ask that artist to perform for free or to exhibit their art for free. But being an independent artist and also having a history of a business degree and working in a corporate setting for years, I know that these corporations, and even not corporations, can afford something. Okay, I'm not saying you need to go out there and ask for $10,000 to exhibit your art, but something. I promise you that if they're throwing a $10,000 event, they can afford $200 to pay you for your art. Okay, so, and it doesn't stop from the bottom to the top. I just did an event for $1 billion company, and they refused to pay me a penny to perform my art that I get paid to do across the world. $1 billion company couldn't scrounge up $200 to respect my art, respect me as a human. And that's not going to go away. So at a certain point, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to stick to your boundaries. And you may lose opportunities because of that, but 99.9% of the time, in my perspective, they wouldn't have been worth it anyways. It's more worth it for you to be putting that time and energy and money and soul into your art, into building your business, not giving it away for free to these companies that don't give a shit about you. That's my gab for the week. Obviously I feel some type of way that I just spent my whole week in Vegas to have my soul chipped at with a knife. Maybe that's a little dramatic, but I'm over it. I'm over performing for exposure. I've worked too hard to get taken advantage of like that, and that's how I see it. And hope this helped in some way. Make your art, create your art. It's important, and protect your art and set boundaries around it. It's worth it, and you're worth it. Peace and love.